All right, what's up, Burnout the Badass group? If you caught us just a few minutes ago, our internet was having a panic attack.
Yeah.
It was completely stressed out, suffering from some overwhelm and anxiety, and
it completely shut down.
Yeah, it completely shut down. It was trying to power through, but it just wasn't working. Which leads us into what we were talking about in today's episode, the 7 steps to end burnout. Step number 6, Elliot, and that is?
That is to stop paddling upstream.
Yes, absolutely. Stop paddling upstream. Now, what do we mean by that? So,
go ahead.
So many people, teachers and heck, bosses, friends, and family. It's like this modern day term, this word grit, is come out. Has become a really, really big term, and it's pretty recent, like the past 5, maybe 8 years, right? Like it's a young term that people have started using. And what it means is to power through. And what's crazy is how determined people are actually to push through all the crap when it comes to stress, right?
Yeah.
Anxiety and overwhelm and a lot of the emotional struggles, push through all the crap. Yet they don't feel better. Goals are missed. And before they know it, anger, fear, and exhaustion reach new highs and take a toll on their families. Now, if this sounds familiar, guys, you should tune into today's episode. I'm Adam. I'm co-founder of Move, Think, Smile. And I'm here with Elia Fasharan, the original Move, Think, Smile founder, the one and only, and the author of our best-selling book, which if you saw our episode a few days ago, don't buy it. There's some good reasons why. And if you haven't seen that episode, make sure you go back and look at it. And if you want to know why you shouldn't buy it, we're going to be in the Move, Think, Smile page, not the group, later this evening at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, where you can catch us there. So, Elia, tell us about this whole thing about powering through and paddling upstream and what's going on.
Yeah, so you've got a problem, right? You want to end burnout, but you're just so tired, you don't even know where to start. You don't have the energy to fix what's going on, so you tend to just stay stuck. You're pushing hard, and you think that if you stop, everything is going to come crashing down. So this is really about understanding that endurance, anyone who has anxiety, fatigue, or burnout is actually an endurance expert, okay? But this is where your expertise in enduring is actually causing a liability for you because you think struggling is how you're going to win, and endurance is working against you right now. And we're going to talk about that.
Right. So if you think you have the energy to move forward, if you think you've got what it takes to have the grit, there's a big difference between having grit in a physical obstacle and powering through a mental obstacle. Big difference. And that's what we're going to get into today. Because I remember being back in grad school at Northwestern up in Chicago, and I never heard the term power through. And that was an intense program, and I'd never heard the term grit either. I think I know where this is coming from, and I think it's come from the extreme popularity and the quick growth of obstacle course racing. And if you think about it, you've got the Savage Race, the Tough Mudder, the Rugged Maniac. What are some other ones? The Warrior Dash, and of course, the king of them all, the Spartan Race, which that's personally one of my favorites to do. And I absolutely love the founder of the Spartan Race, Joe DeSenda. I think he's an amazing guy. He says a lot of amazing things, but he really talks about powering through and grit and making life awesome and stuff like that. And while that does work on the obstacle course when you're running down with lightning chasing you because there's a hurricane behind your back and you got to go over a 16-foot wall, yeah, you want to get to the finish line because you want to live. Powering through works really well there, right?
Yeah.
Or if you're an athlete, building up that endurance and powering through some to a point, right? Helps. But I know a lot of people, especially like Ironmen or Iron women, and endurance athletes that take this power through approach and even damage their body physically, because they run out of gas. And so what we're talking about through, guys, we're talking about powering through in the brain, right? What's going on up here, especially when you're dealing with a bunch of BS in your life. And trust me, you're probably watching this and dealing with some type of BS in your life. And it's coming out in some type of frustration, worry. You're not sleeping at night the way that you want to sleep at night. You're feeling exhausted. And what really sucks is you're probably taking it out of your family and friends. Right, Elia?
Yeah, you've got to really ask yourself what you think endurance represents to you, because like we're going to talk about a lot today, enduring and grit and all that stuff, it sounds sexy, it's amazing, and it's absolutely needed in certain cases, but it's a short-term strategy, and you're using it like a long-term strategy. And I say this all the time, you can't sprint a marathon. So you really need to figure out why you're using endurance as a long-term strategy. And I think, I have a hunch anyways, for a lot of people, comes down to a couple things. One, it shows that you're worthy of winning, right? We have this idea that like, if we struggle really, really hard, that makes us more worthy of winning. It proves our fighting spirit. It proves, that we're going to reach success, and it shows our family, how dedicated that we are. And, that endurance is going to make us stronger and make the win that much sweeter. Now, in a lot of cases, this is true, but here's the thing. You've gotten good at enduring burnout, and I don't think you want to be good at that.
No.
I think you want to be good at creating enduring success. I think you want to be good at creating and showing your kids and your family how to be able to endure this life and how to be able to get through the challenges and the stressors without continuing the cycles and the patterns of dealing with stress that just don't serve you and eventually drop you, right? Yes. We talked about this earlier, with Spartan races. We've seen this, even the most incredible pro elite Spartan athletes, well, they gas out sometimes.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And there's a point where pushing yourself for a race or for a physical thing, and there's a point for, you see the finish line. But here's the reality. The finish line is always the finish line, right? It's always there. Yes, sometimes the targets change, and it might feel like they're moving them, those bastards. They keep moving they keep moving the damn targets. But, when you're in a high pressure career, whether you're building your own business, aka an entrepreneur, you're an intrapreneur, which means you're working for another company, but you're responsible for a big enough chunk that it's like building your own business, that department, right? An executive. Mm-hmm. Or you're a professional, like you're in healthcare or legal, you're an attorney. And it's so funny how many of these people power through to the point of really bad stuff, like hardcore narcotics, alcoholism, and rampant suicide.
Yeah.
Rampant suicide. Like, it's amazing that the people who are making the really good money and are responsible for our health when we get sick are actually burning out at incredible rates. And guys, and why is that? Why is that, Ellie? Tell me.
Well, we've made it all about action. It's all about getting stuff done. It's all about getting to the end of our to-do list. It's all about outside action and achievement. And I think most people get to a point where they actually feel uneasy about slowing down. Like, they feel like if they slow down, that like something bad is either going to catch up to them or their entire world is going to come crashing down, because the speed at which they're operating is how they feel like makes their world spin. And, again, this is really looking at, are you worried that your relevancy is going to disappear if you slow down? Are you worried that, you're not going to be able to keep your position where you are or keep your business running if you don't stay in this frantic space? Right. And for a lot of people, they believe that being able to endure through crap is the way to success, but that's a backwards way of looking at it.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, Elia has said this time and time again. In fact, she actually has a pretty big section on this in her book, which we're going to tell you not to buy. We kind of talked about that earlier this week. And even though it's got 4.8 stars on Amazon and Audible and iTunes, we're really suggesting you don't buy it for yourself. And if you don't know why, go watch that episode. And if you want to know why, join us in the Facebook page, Move Think Smile, later tonight at 7:30. But so many people are wearing endurance as a badge of honor. They're wearing burnout as a badge of honor. And here's how you know. Mm-hmm. If you ask how somebody's doing, or if somebody's asked you how you're doing, and your answer is slammed, busy, crazy, no time. What are some other ones?
It's no time, crazy busy. I have, they usually what happens actually is a laundry list of things they've achieved that week, right? So it could be like a remodeled.
It's little task on their to-do list, right?
Yeah.
So they got this over here, and they got little green check boxes on their app. Like, look at all my green check boxes. And over here, they got the world's giant, most potent pot of coffee that they're just, they're taking showers in. Just so they can power through, and they're walking around. And what are they telling themselves? Hey, Elia, so how you doing? Yeah. And they say,
I'm fine, or I'm busy, or I'm
fine.
I'm
fine.
Yeah.
That's the key thing.
Yeah.
If you're walking around telling yourself you're fine, right? There's a good chance you're powering through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so many are teaching that. So one thing you got to understand, it's not your fault, right? It's a new phenomenon. And some of the world's coolest people are talking about powering through and grit. And it has spread around as like this pop culture thing. And hipsters are powering through. People are powering through because it's the cool thing to do. When in reality, it's burning people out up here. Because powering through a mountain trail is not the same thing as powering through a sales meeting. Is it, Elia?
Yeah. Yeah, there's very different, again, it's really looking at what your strategy is for the long term. So if you believe that you must struggle and you must endure all of this and that is your strength, then it's going to lead you to some things like you're going to forget why you're doing what you're doing. You're going to get really disconnected from that, which then creates a lot of doubt because you're going to be drowning in minutia. And when doubt creeps in, that is a super slippery slope because now anxiety can take over and you start having these ideas of, okay, so what if I fail? What if this doesn't work? Then what happens is you move into, well, I'll create this plan B, C, D, E, F, G, and all of a sudden you have a huge load that, in all these contingency plans, right? Now you've got to support not only the current business or career that you're doing, but all the other contingency plans that you have because you've got this doubt and anxiety that, you're not going to make it or whatever it might be. And, this again is creating this, you've got your boat just pointed upstream and you are paddling like crazy. But I can tell you from experience that if you don't stop to check what you're doing, to check your why, to take some time to refuel, that you will get benched. You're going to lose connection to your family. Your kids are going to watch you run yourself into the ground. Then they're going to mimic that behavior. They're going to do the same thing. And, again, this just really leads down to the big question I keep asking is, do you want to be good at enduring anxiety, fatigue, and burnout? Or do you want to be good at creating and being able to endure a badass life where you get time to unplug and relax and be present with your family?
And most people are scared to slow down, as we talked about a few minutes ago. And that, it's because what we're being taught and what's being said. And yes, there are some very good things for powering through. Grit is an amazing skill to have, especially in short-term shitty situations. Trust me. But if you're in a situation that is, and I mean short-term, I mean like a day or two, right? Maybe not even that long, a couple hours. But if you're in a situation that, has you coming home and feeling less than amazing, you can't unplug. You're tired but wired, you're having trouble sleep at night, or you're getting sleep but you're just not getting deep sleep, and you're not waking up energetic and excited in the morning, and you find yourself, being less than loving with your family, your significant other, or maybe yelling at the kids, instead of going, hey guys, let's go do this. Instead it's like, it's Saturday, we've got to clean the house because it's the only thing we've got to do. Shut up, let's go. That's stress, and that's gonna trickle down to your kids. And so if you're looking to have a bigger impact, you got to stop powering through, and you've got to start paddling downstream. because banging your head against a wall, hoping it cracks before you do, it's crazy.
Yeah. And here's the sad truth, but it's something that you've got to come to terms with, which is for a lot of people who burn out, they don't know anything other than the struggle. They don't know anything other than feeling like they have to constantly paddle upstream to barely survive, to keep things going. Even if they do have the money that they really want, they may be battling upstream with their relationships or with their family, or maybe it is all about battling your financial situation. But the thing is when we're in the constant battle, it's tough to remember our big why other than basic survival, which actually, again, has us really not making the smartest choices for the long term. Keeps us stuck in that same cycle over and over. You're exhausted, you're fatigued, and now you're like, how can I even help myself when I'm too tired to even figure out how to help myself?
Right. No wonder people keep self-medicating, right? No wonder we've got stress eating problems, weight gain, and people drinking too much and things like that. It's like people are not taking the time to properly stop and recharge, fill up their gas tanks, not only for their body, which has got to come first, but then the brain.
Yeah.
So that whole busy blur thing. Yeah. It's you got to, instead of paddling upstream, what do people need to do? They need to
paddle downstream.
Start paddling downstream, right?
Yeah, you've got to reverse the momentum of what it is you're creating right now.
Because if not, in reality, it's like you're taking 2 steps forward, but taking 2, sometimes 3, 4, or 5 steps back.
Yes.
Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Again, that momentum is really, really important. You can build momentum paddling upstream a little bit, but there are times when you have to paddle downstream, and you've got to know how to build that momentum.
Right.
And for most people who burn out and have anxiety, they have no idea how to create the momentum of going downstream, how to create ease in their life, how to relax.
Exactly. They're so wired. They've trained themselves and created this habit to keep paddling upstream that literally their internal compass is off. It's broken. It needs to be recalibrated, right? And they're making the process 100 times harder than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And the reason most never make it, right? Most never discover what true happiness is. Most never discover what fulfillment is. Most never discover what success really feels like is because their bodies eventually bench them because they're going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So what do we have to do, Elliot?
Well, the big thing is you've got to change your belief system. You've got to really look at the fact that you believe that endurance is the way to get what you want. And you believe that endurance is a long-term strategy, and it simply is not, right? Not in the powering out, grind it out sort of way. Okay, there's definitely varying levels of endurance, but this is why you've got to really get focused back on your why. Why are you doing this? And why should you turn downstream? You've got to figure out the why. If you don't do that, and if you don't believe in how powerful that can be, then you will continue to paddle upstream.
Right. And so yes, you will continue to paddle upstream. If you guys are having trouble doing that, we've got a solution. But first, Elliot, tell us about, you want to tell us about Eric real quick? Your client, Eric?
One of our clients, Eric, he is a perfect example of this because he is great at endurance. He is an insane road cyclist. He's super fit. Yeah,
we're talking about going from across the country on a bicycle as fast as you can, kind of deal, like cannonball style on 2 wheels.
Yeah, and we see this a lot. Just because you are super fit and you can endure does not mean that you are immune to burnout, anxiety, and stress. He had some crazy stuff. He was working crazy hours with his job. He had, some stuff going on with his wife. They ended up divorcing. There was a huge his life was a chaotic mess. He was trying to handle the kids. He ended up landing in the hospital having chest pains, where he found out, surprise, surprise, that he was actually just having a panic attack, which he believed was impossible. How could I be having a panic attack?
Well, yeah, and it was, and for Eric, it was coming from several different areas. Mostly, it was, he's a software sales guy for a really big, software company, And there's a lot of pressure. And, he has the opportunity to make insane amounts of money, absolutely insane. And there's always, being in sales, there was always so much pressure to make it happen. And so, and he was traveling all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And so he was so worried about becoming hot-headed, kind of like his growing up with his dad, that, that even started getting onto him. And so, the woman, his best friend that he married, they ended up getting divorced. And he ended up, changing jobs, moving, doing all kinds of stuff. And it was just absolutely crazy what he was going through. And what's funny is he was powering through.
Yeah.
He was treating the anxiety and the stress and the stuff in his life like a mountain and a bicycle, that if I just power through, I'll get to the top. And it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't. It really ended up in some really crazy crap. And so, Eric came to us. And what's really cool is, in working with him just in a short period of time, he's back together with his ex-wife. Now, they're still technically divorced, but holy crap, they're back together. Do you know how often that happens? That when somebody gets divorced, that they get back together and are actually having a loving relationship again? I'm not talking about they're just friends, and being nice for the boys. I'm talking about they're back together. Like they're hanging out again. Like it's cool. It's really, really cool to see what's happening. And, I just talked to him a few days ago, and he's like, I can't believe it. Like, I looked at my finances, and now that I've gotten, now that I understand how to, stop coping with all this crap and stop powering through it, and how to conquer the stuff that was just worrying me and causing me anxiety and all the anger and frustration, that, I was about to lose it at the third quarter. That was just back in September. Mm-hmm. It's like I was about to lose it, and then it shifted, and we figured it out. And he's like, I just looked at what my finances are going to be for the end of the year, and they're really impressive. I'm like, I was, September, I was like, oh my God, and now I'm like, oh wow, this is really cool. So, Elia, what can people do? If you can't stop powering through, first of all, it's not your fault, right? You've learned something, and you can unlearn it. And if you're having trouble unlearning it and you want to stop powering through, Elia?
Yeah. Give us a call. Go to movethinksmile.com/talk. And, we're going to hop on the phone for about 45 minutes and really just figure out, okay, what is that pattern that you're repeating? What are the slight shifts you could do to change the direction of your boat so that you're not constantly paddling upstream? And what's stopping you from turning it around? What beliefs do you have that are really keeping you stuck?
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to say it again, do you want to be good at enduring burnout and anxiety? And I don't think you do.
No, because it ends badly.
Yeah.
It ends badly. I mean, the small things, the obvious things are like divorce, which is insanely expensive and horrible, or the loss of friends, or, and then it starts, then your health goes to shit. And then you become a statistic, a death statistic. And that is not what we want for you guys. So yes, please, if you want to get your compass calibrated and you want to start heading in the right direction, so you're paddling downstream, come on over to movethinksmile.com/talk. You're going to speak with either Elia or myself. And we're going to get you crystal clear. It's a free call. It's going to be the best 45 minutes you spend on your life in a long time. And we'll get deep down and dirty with, what's really causing the stress in your life right now, what's really keeping you awake at night, why you're having trouble turning around, and what are the goals that you want to hit.
Yeah.
And if we think that we might be able to help you, we'll talk about that too. And if not, no big deal. So go over. The best gift you could give yourself or anybody is a completely healthy, happy you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So take the time.
I love that.
Take 45 minutes out of your day to have a call with us if this sounds like you. Right? Head on over to movethinksmile.com/talk. And we'll see you guys this evening over in the Move Think Smile Facebook page, where we're going to be talking about more reasons why you shouldn't buy Elia's book. This one right here. You guys have probably seen it, or maybe. Yeah. We're going to talk about why you shouldn't buy it. Until
All
then,
right,
guys.
Yeah, we are signing off. Be sure to leave any comments below if anything hit you or resonated with you, or you just want us to expand on more. Pop that in the comments as you watch this, and we will catch you tomorrow. We'll be back in tomorrow.
See you guys.
Okay.